Okay, let's begin now. Today is June 17th, so middle of the June. Let's see what BTC is doing. Right, so starting with 4 hours time frame. Now, so 24950 was the upper range of this 24K range. So it bounced off the 24K range, which is good. If you look at if we have a quick look at the recent past, so this was the resistance it had hit, then hit a support zone. So this was 26K, 27K range, and then made lower low, lower low, and a lower highs. If you look at this is high, lower high, and this was the low, lower low, and then lower low. So basically, since April, mid-April, for last 2 months, Bitcoin has been going down, right? But not like a big drop or steep drop. This is not a huge drop from a big picture point of view. Now, now we're seeing bounce in last 2 days, which is very encouraging. Now, first of all, it has reached to the prior support zone from the recent one, so that's good. Now we have clear trend line from the top, indicating this orange line, indicating or touching all those higher points. So naturally, what we can anticipate is somewhere near 27K range, 27,000 range, it could face some resistance, right? Because it's also the zone, resistance zone, and also this downtrend line. So far so good. Maybe I'll zoom out a bit on go in 12 hours and see how it looks like. 12 hours look pretty good, right? Not just one pump and dump. This was like a good pump, but only for 12 hours. And this move is more than 12 hours. Like this is last a couple of days of move, which is encouraging, right? And yeah, so this particular bounce looks promising. Also, the macroeconomic factors, there is no major issue in front. We had CPI numbers which were better than before, and so inflation numbers are better in the US, and the Fed has skipped the rate hike, and we saw what happened to the stock market. It pumped. It was pumping anyways in the anticipation, and stock market got what it wanted, so it continued pumping. Now, as far as crypto is concerned, there's lack of liquidity until recently. Now we see some kind of, especially in last 24 hours, I see momentum or more volume across the board, which is very good news. So we can say that next week's is likely to be better than what we had in last 8 weeks. So with that, so this is early sign. So with this early sign, we can expect all the assets, all the coins, and to improve. When I say all, means the one that we select, to improve from here on. So as far as BTC is concerned, it is within this zone, support zone, and moving away. This is pretty good move, I think, because staying above 26K gives a lot of confidence. 25 was like a borderline case, right? Of course, we had limit up to 24K, but 26K is very encouraging. So when it is staying about 26K like this, there is no immediate risk, downside risk, as far as the trend is concerned. Now, what we would like to see is to close about 28,500, which I mentioned earlier as well, because then it will be well above this downtrend line and about this rejection point, which will give us confidence. Technically speaking, this is the level, is the required level for the new high, and it's now looking good. So this is Bitcoin. I think there's not much to be added other than what I said, because this is improving at this moment. So yeah, if it goes above 28K and especially 28,500, that will give me a huge confidence as far as analysis point of view, that it will confirm that it doesn't want to go down further. And when it breaks above this one, it will confirm technically that it wants to go and make a new high. Let's look at weekly. Now, this is beautiful, right? The green zone hasn't been broken, which was the case, like which is the boundary and the area we were considering for us uh, to track on weekly basis. So this is very good news, right? It almost touched. Of course, it touched. I mean, it was about to go down if it was not, if there was no such bounce. But this is a pretty decent bounce. Let me hide drawings for now. So this is a decent candle. Of course, we would like to see higher, but this is a good start, as I mentioned earlier. Right, moving away and staying. So we would like to come return back to 28,500, which I mentioned, which will bring the price in middle of this green box approximately, and that's where the balance will be attained, where there won't be any immediate downside risk when that happens. So nothing has changed as far as trend is concerned. This 8 weeks, we can say this is like a counter trend. This particular recovery trend is still intact, as you can see. And as far as there are four segments, this is upside move, consolidation with some correction, another upside move, consolidation, and some correction. So if you look at the structure is intact, and that's what matters as far as trend is concerned, as far as health is concerned. So this is very encouraging. This particular move we saw in last 2 days, very encouraging. Right. So of course, with this, if this continues, then we would like this. This is our trajectory. Remember, this yellow direction is only applicable when it continues to go down and enters into red. As I mentioned earlier, as far as the price is within the green box, there's no warning sign, right? And that's where we are. So now what happened, instead of going up from there, now we have to move a little on the right side because the timing has changed. That's what happens when the consolidation or correction prolongs, then the breakout also prolongs, so relatively. So now we can say this could be the potential path on the upside. Again, if it goes mad and goes up, rapidly, then this could change. The angle could change, which is not a big deal for us, right? The important thing is what we would like to see is it moves away from this support and re-enters into zone and then ultimately breaks out, right, in stages. So this is what we want. So the bare minimum expectation is to reach 28,500 and then progress on the upside and then give us a breakout on the upside. So I think that's it. So far, it's in balance. Again, from a precaution point of view or risk management point of view, the recent low becomes the reference point, right? If the recent low is broken, then we consider that because it will then enters into warning zone, which is the orange zone, and that will be considered as potential risk, right? So that's how it looks like at this moment. So far, so good. So with that note, I would say we don't have much to cover on Bitcoin. We can have a quick look at DXY and see how it looks like. So DXY has gone down. Dollar index has gone down. This is perfect, right? It got rejected from the sign line. And also now below the orange line, because last week it was above the orange line. Now it is below. So we can say now even the orange line has rejected. So this is looking good. Now it is here. Remember, it is not somewhere here. We would like to see this going down further and break below on 100 level. That would be, I mean, especially this white line, 100.6769. So that level has to be broken below. that will be perfect, right? So this consolidation is still there. um, Sometimes this is like a support, and this is like a second touch, I mean, retest, I would say, and then another attempt. So what we don't want is another attempt on the upside, breaking the orange line. So if it breaks above orange line and returns back to 103.5 something, or 104, let's say, then that will be a bad sign. Again, this is a reference point. Sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes DXY and Bitcoin could go on in the same direction. It has happened. It had happened. I mean, it was the case in some in past. So it is possible. So one should not think that it's always opposite. Sometimes they go in together, right? And sometimes people think that in a US stock market and Bitcoin also go in the same direction. In most of the cases, yes, but not always. So one has to be very careful when refer some reference data. So I purposefully call this reference data, because even in Nasdaq or US stock index, you have seen that they have been going up for last 8 weeks, but not Bitcoin. So sometimes some fundamental reasons could be driving Bitcoin down, or where the stock market would have different fundamentals and they would continue to go up, though they are relative and relevant. So that's what happens when you refer those kind of indexes. Okay, so that's the DXY. So this is very encouraging. No sign of bounce, which is good. We can have a quick look at bond yields. Bond yields are still holding up, and the reason is because the Fed has provided the or given the potential hike, or target like 0.5% by end of the year. They haven't specified when and up to what level, because every month they're going to decide. So that's why the bond yields are holding up. They are not, of course, they are holding up. They haven't broken above, as you can see, not really a breakout on the upside. They are just flat. Probably they would remain in a very narrow range, in my opinion, and they would like to see what happens in the July month, because the Fed's tone was still hawkish in a way. So the bond market would like to wait for a month and see how the inflation number for the month of June, and then the reaction from the Fed. That's my hunch. So from the yields point of view, yields are holding up for now. Okay. Um, so going back to BTC, so BTC is totally fine, as I mentioned. But we have to keep in mind that this 25K level roughly is to be watched out. 24K is on the Binance chart, which I have shown, is a zone. 24K to 25K range is the key level. If that is broken, then consider as a potential risk on the downside. Okay. I mean, potential risk to the trend itself, the recovery trend itself, in that case. So at this moment, it's not the case, so we're good. So with that note, I'll complete BTC analysis, and then, yeah, we'll see. And keep asking question if you have any doubt. For now, this is good enough.